Well, as I wait for new control boards from Veteran for my burned out Sherman, I thought I would take the board out and kind of inspect it and see if I can discover any more clues on what might have happened. Thought you might want to see what I find. I was able to disconnect all the cabling, and I know Kuji mentioned somewhere that it was a pain in the butt for him to change the tire on his just because of the cables, but this is really just a typical Gotway type configuration where everything's plugged in and they put a bunch of goop, some kind of a silicone around the connectors, but it's pretty easy to cut away, so I found it very easy to disconnect everything. But here's the problem, very unfortunate, is that you can't get the control board out of this chamber. I mean, you look at it and you think, oh wow, great access to the control board and great access with an entire wheel for working on it, but you can't take the control board out. You have to actually take the wheel totally apart, separate the two halves of the shell to make room to get this board out. And I confirmed that fact with Veteran. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, I have removed the pedals, removed the sides, of course. I removed the 6 bolts that hold the shell to the pedal hangers, and I removed, there's 2 screws here and here which attach, those are the only 2 screws which attach the 2 shells together. The roll cage is what's also holding the shell together, and of course these, and of course everything I've done here I've done on the other side too. I did want to point out that the screws up at the top that hold the 2 shell pieces together, they are also machine screws backed by brass, so that's nice. The only difference is they are cap head Phillips versus the flathead Phillips used everywhere else. But I still can't separate the shell halves. I have to remove the roll cage to do this. So this is a total disassembly just to get the control board out. Okay, I've never done this, of course, but clearly I always imagine these just slid into the pedal hangers. So I'm going to use a block of wood and just gently tap. And it does look like it wants to come out, which is good. And I'm going to have to flip this over and do the other side a bit, probably do it a few times. Okay, this is the other side. Okay, came out. Flip it over again, kind of gently. That's it, they're free. I don't know what gauge this tubing is, but the wall thickness is about 1/16 of an inch. Some of you guys can probably equate that to gauge, metal gauge. So it's not as thick as it could be, I suppose, but it's still pretty tough. Once I removed the roll cage, I discovered one more screw that needs to get detached. So it's behind the roll cage. So that means there are 4 screws holding the 2 shelves together. Yes. Success. I tell you, I didn't think I was going to become so familiar with the Sherman when I got it. It looks like I've become I wouldn't say expert, but I know how to take it apart now. And got it out. Now let me clean it up. Okay, well, I attempted to clean this up, but it's a mess. So I'm going to kind of working around the tripod here. It's just a little awkward, but first of all, I just want to point out that the destruction definitely originated right here. I mean, these MOSFETs, for instance, I'm going to look at the leads, but I mean, they're all intact. These are the 2 cables that come from the batteries, and they go right in here. And as you can see, there's nothing there. The board is all just, you know, separated the layers in the circuit board. Everything is falling apart. So, you know, I don't think you have to be too smart to think that there was so much current coming from the batteries that this just self-destructed the circuitry, the board. The cables from the battery actually look good, and I'll tell you, all the cabling inside the wheel does not look stressed at all. It's like this is the weak point. So let me see if I can disassemble this top layer. I'm just curious what the MOSFETs look like. Let's see. These screws go to the MOSFETs on the bottom side. And by the way, the fan was kind of melted from the heat, the plastic here. You can see the fins, or some of these fins are distorted. And these fans are oriented such that they blow air across this row of MOSFETs and this row of MOSFETs. So the cooling looks pretty good. And when I was riding the wheel, it was a cool running wheel. I mean, under most conditions, it was not a hot running, like the Nikola, for instance, seems to be a hotter running wheel. This was nice and cool. It's a very beefy heat sink here. And by the way, here's the other capacitor that was here. I'm going to capacitors didn't exactly explode, so I'm not sure what caused all the soot on this. Here's the heatsink material. I think it's on the, we discovered on the Nikola. Okay, well, yes, the MOSFETs physically are intact, but all the leads look blown. On most of them, many of the leads are gone. So, but look at the destruction here. So that's the weak spot. Whatever's going on there. You would think they could have designed the circuitry to know that we're drawing too much current. Time to shut things down. Okay, well, I guess that does it for my post-mortem. Hope you found this interesting. It was kind of cool to see how the veteran, how the Sherman fully comes apart. And I'll show this, some of these pictures to a veteran. Who knows, maybe it'll be interesting. All right, I will just need to sit back and wait for a new control board. Talk to you guys later.